what does this look like for people transitioning in, and what can they expect on the other side? Obviously, you love your career.
I do.
Right?
I love what I do. I wish I would have jumped in with both feet, but being in my situation, I was just, everybody is scared.
So you can start part-time.
Anybody can start part-time.
And what are the prerequisites other than rolling up your sleeves and learning something new?
That's all there is. You don't need a degree, and you don't need, you need your license, and you need the will and the fortitude to push.
Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode. We don't go anywhere. We've got a special guest in the house today, and no, it's not our bobbleheads. We got Mr. Chris Ball, who's on this side of the table. Welcome back, Chris. On this side of the table, we've got special guest all the way from Springfield, Missouri, Miss Lisa Joos. Joos, Joos. I'm saying it.
That's right.
I don't want to mess it up. Lisa Joos, Springfield. Welcome to the podcast, Lisa. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having us.
We're excited to have you here. How long have you've been a long-time listener?
Long-time listener.
Yeah.
Well, almost a year now.
Yeah.
Almost a year. So coming up on a year listening, and it's definitely changed my business, and appreciate you guys for all you do. And it's definitely been a game changer for me. So
beautiful. Well,
that's really cool. Thank you for saying that.
You're in the final expense space, and you also do Medicare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're currently connected with one of our other guests that we've recently had on the podcast, Mr. Michael Bond.
Michael Bond.
With Bond.
Yes.
Michael Bond.
Yep. Serenity Insurance.
Shaken, not stirred.
Yes.
That Bond. And Serenity Insurance Group, yeah?
Yep.
And let's back up. So for our listeners that are joining us today, Lisa's got a very interesting story. This lady she was hustling back in the day. She's the mother of two, and who are now grown, obviously. Yep. And but she was killing it in a bunch of different things. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Because I think they're going to find it very interesting. And then how you transitioned and found the insurance space.
Okay.
And now why you love this so much. So what were you doing? How did you land here? How did this all start?
I worked for Nationwide Health Plans back in the day, back in college, and then having kids. I stayed home with my kids, grew up my kids, and then started teaching some personal training and group fitness classes. Got connected with one of my local gyms that we were very dedicated gym goers and things like that, and did some marketing for the Arnold Sports Expo in Columbus, Ohio.
Not Springfield, Missouri.
Right. So
you're originally from Columbus.
Originally from Columbus.
Yeah.
So, and just the transition to insurance, being in your 40s and trying to get out of the fitness industry and into something that's going to be.
No, we're talking about the Arnold, like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
like the Arnold.
Yes. Arnold. What is that? What is the Arnold?
It is a huge 3-day event.
I can't imagine what it's like to have that many bodybuilders in one space. It's bodybuilders, right?
It's not just bodybuilders, but it's all kinds of fitness.
Did you ever see walking down the hall with all these thousands of people, just a really big guy eating a bucket of chicken? Did you ever?
Probably.
His name was Chris Ball. No, it wouldn't have been Chris.
No, it wouldn't
have been Chris.
It wouldn't have been me.
Not with the chicken thing.
Don't eat chicken.
So you were working for the Arnold?
Yes.
Yeah? What were you doing there?
I did marketing for them, and it was huge. It brings in about 500,000 people to Columbus. So it's huge from all over the world.
It's mind-boggling.
And it's not just bodybuilding. It's all kinds of fitness competitions and gymnastics and cheerleading. And
wow.
So it's pretty
How did that
intense.
end up in Columbus?
Columbus is a big city.
Arnold's not from there.
Well, Arnold and the founder of the Arnold Sports Expo were lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and that's where he's
there's
from.
a history of that, along with the World Gym, Metro Fitness.
Gotcha.
That's a massive gathering.
Oh, it's huge.
That's incredible.
It's huge. So
is it still going on?
It is. It's the first week in March.
Yeah, every year. It's coming up.
want to go?
It's coming up.
Are we going?
Am I going to be the guy with the chicken? Are you trying to get a photo
Just asking
op?
for random directions. Hey, can somebody tell me where Cracker Barrel is? Like just random.
So you were at the Arnold. You were doing marketing. What happened?
Right. So just trying to make a transition to do something that's more not just family oriented, but something that just means something more to me. And having an insurance background, going through some life changes and divorce situations and things like that, kind of having to give a grown up job now. And and seeing a friend go through a situation where losing a family member really brought it close to home. So going through my divorce, I put policies on both my kids right after that happened, and just seeing that transition. And I thought, well, gosh, I could try something like that. I could see if I could do insurance because I have an insurance background, and talk to some of my friends from high school that are with companies and not really finding the right home. So then I found a captive company that I did
someone
very well
recruited
with.
you.
I actually recruited them.
Okay.
So
You recruited your company.
I did because I did a lot of homework on who I wanted to be with. I guess not quite enough, but it was a good stepping stone, and it gave me that void that I was trying to fill.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people that listen. I'm going to ask this question. Are you going to
You're
comment?
probably going to have the same question I do, but go ahead.
So you said I went to work for a captive company. Some people don't understand what that means. And we've got new listeners, and they're like, "What does that mean, captive?" It doesn't sound very exciting. It sounds like you're in a jail cell.
Sounds scary.
Yeah. So when we say captive,
in the zoo.
and then some people say
I
we
can't
say
leave
it
the
so
zoo.
loosely, right? Captive,
Right.
independent.
Right.
What does that mean when you say captive? Can you give our
It's kind
listeners?
of like being in the zoo and you're the animal and you can't leave.
So it is like that. Okay.
It's exactly that.
from the insurance perspective, what is it? What are the
Right.
benefits of that type of organization?
You're just selling one product. You've got one product to sell. It's a more simplified approach.
You're working for an actual company, an insurance
You're
company.
learning a lot, probably.
I did. I learned a lot, and I liked the atmosphere that I had at that company. It was great. It was
Had a good team.
it had a great team, very competitive, very people that cared about their agents, and it was a good network. So I did well. They sent me to Hawaii, and that was a fun time.
They don't just send you to Hawaii unless you're like they're trying to get rid of you. But I don't think they're trying to get rid of you. I think you earned that, right? You were one of their top producers. See, she's very bashful. I found out she was in the top 5%.
Wow.
And she was a top producer. And I'm going to give you some stats. I'm going to brag on you a little bit. Is that okay? She was part-time, still with her 2 kids, doing all kinds of stuff and life stuff, transitioning in her life. And she was averaging about $18,000 a month in issue paid business part-time.
Not too bad.
And she got into the top 5%. And
Yeah.
they sent her to Hawaii just as a,
Just
like, here,
kids,
just go. What was that experience like?
It was great. It was really good. So
Did that open your eyes to possibilities?
It did. And I really liked the company I was with. I was there for a few years. And then when I transferred out to Missouri, into Springfield, I didn't have that same unity. So it was a very different story. I didn't have that leadership and, that feel good feeling of,
Camaraderie.
the
support.
camaraderie. Absolutely. So,
We do have a lot of listeners at different levels in this. I mean, we have some people who are really high producers and they love the podcast. They pick up, gold nuggets here and there that they use. And then we have people on the front side of this who are just getting started and they're asking this question, is this for me? That's the question they're asking. They're probably 100 episodes in, keep asking themselves that question, is this for me? And I just want to go back just for a moment. And you said the thing that helped move you into this, you had a
friend.
Was it a friend who passed? And
That lost him.
a friend that lost a daughter.
yeah, and
So-
you saw that family go through a lot.
It was very, it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I want people to hear that because it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
And if you have,
Well, I mean, the emotional loss is there. The grief is there.
right.
But it doesn't need to be compounded with not preparing
Right.
for things that you can prepare for
And I'm
to help
guessing
you with that.
that there are many people who do not have their license who are listening to this, questioning if they should get their license, who went through the
Yeah.
same thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like we could all say, we saw a GoFundMe
Right, right.
on Facebook.
And that's what was so difficult, is seeing that not only the tragedy of what they went through, but then having to pay for it, or having to have the GoFundMe and things like that, and putting a second mortgage on the house, and then seeing the demise of the family through the hardship of the loss and the financial burden. So, and going through the divorce that I was going through at the same time, it was crazy. I put policies on both my kids.
Yeah.
And
you believed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like in the middle of that chaos, right? Even in your own life, you've seen this happen to a friend. You saw some instability and some unforeseen circumstances in your own life that you didn't really prepare for. No one really does.
Right.
A breakup of a relationship, you grieve that, regardless of how it happened. You still grieve that because there's family that came out of that, right? And so that uncertainty and that instability caused kind of like a flight to safety for you. Like you were looking for things to anchor to create some safety, some guardrails, right?
Right.
Yeah. How important was that for you in your transition to life insurance sales itself?
It was huge. It was huge. And it's definitely something that I talk about when I'm in homes with people, is, the importance of it, and not only relating that to them, but knowing that what they're doing to protect their family, to make sure that there's no questions about how it's taken care of. So that peace of mind.
Relatability, and also that that empathy that you're sharing with them, it brings a lot of humanity and makes them, moves them in a way.
Absolutely.
But the thing I don't want to miss here for the folks who are listening, you don't have your license. You're wondering if this is for you. Get your license. Get your license, and then tell people why it's important.
Yeah.
It may surprise you. I mean, maybe that's your first step, your very first step. Get your license and talk to people about why it's important. You don't have to go crazy selling. You may save a marriage, a family, a family's entire ecosystem just by having that conversation.
Yeah. Right.
You transitioned. You said you transitioned to Springfield. You relocated, and you didn't have the same camaraderie.
No,
and
I didn't have the leadership.
Did you stay with that organization? What happened? Just kind of let us follow your journey.
Well, I tried to really, I'm not a quitter, and really trying to make it work, and being in a new state and environment, and it was like, okay, we got to make this work somehow. And I noticed that a lot of my business that I was writing was getting replaced, and it was really making me mad.
Why was that?
So because
you're a terrible salesperson.
It's horrible.
Here's your policy.
Were you just like saying, you need this, sign here?
No. I have relationships with my clients. When my phone rings, I know it's Mary Smith calling. I say, "Hey Mary, how's it going?" That's how I answer the phone.
Mary Smith, hope you're watching.
That's how I answer the phone with my clients.
So it wasn't because of the relationship.
No. And I had one lady in particular that she had a policy with me, and she said, "I'm sorry, but I have to cancel it. I have $710 a month. That's all I get, and I've got this policy that with Americo, and I have more coverage for less money." And I said, "Wilma, there's no way that this is accurate. I'm going to come by tomorrow, and I want to take a look at this policy, because I just didn't believe it. I believed in what I had was the best thing." So when I went through this whole policy and just said, "I can't believe this."
So you saw that there was other companies that offered the same type of coverage.
Yes. So I
or
called
a lower
them.
Price, or more coverage for the same price.
Right.
And then you called that company and said, "Hey, how do I get an appointment with you guys?"
Right.
And that
So,
started.
are you real?
That started.
So they directed me to an IMO, and it was great. Got good comp, good contracts and everything, but I had no leadership. So one of my prior coworkers came on with the same IMO, so we teamed up, and still not a lot of leadership, because it's the blind leading the blind when you're new to working with 10 companies.
Way, right. Yeah.
So, I just didn't have the leadership, and then my upline ended up leaving. So now I'm second guessing everything that's going on. So I worked with Michael back with our captive company when I first came to Missouri. So I knew him, and I actually tried to recruit him. But
When you say I worked with Michael
Bond with Serenity Insurance with our group.
Insurance. Yeah.
So when he called me, I just thought, "Oh gosh, I tried to recruit you last year." No. So, but then, after seeing all the things that he had implemented and the structure that he has and the integrity, it's just, it's been a total game changer.
Awesome.
So we joined forces about a year and 3 months ago. So, and one thing he introduced me to was you guys and the podcast. And that has been huge game changer for my business. So I haven't listened to every episode like he has twice at least, but I'm getting there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
So-
How? Let me ask the question, because a lot of people, when they're in the industry, they believe that compensation is really the only thing that matters, right? And so when we teach insurance sales, or when we're taking care of families, because that's really what we're doing, we're protecting families. Compensation is important to you as the agent. The product that you're presenting and putting in place for your client is extremely important. The benefits it has, how it works, right? And it's also got to benefit the insurance company. So there's like 3 people there that really have to be taken care of: the company, right, the client, and you as an agent.
Right.
But there's another missing component that a lot of agents don't recognize, or they don't know they're supposed to recognize. But you alluded to it. You said, without leadership, I was just floundering. Even though I had great compensation, I had good products, I was questioning everything. How important is leadership and structure to you in a relationship that helps you win at a high level in this business?
It's definitely been the most beneficial thing, is having that leadership and someone to talk to and have questions with, or answer questions, and have structure implemented so that it's just a turnkey. So knowing that there's products out there and what the basis is for getting that knowledge and getting those questions answered, and then the support of having a team, just like I had back in Ohio. It's just been night and day difference with my business.
Yeah.
So,
what are you excited about now? Like, I mean, what excites you about the industry now? Because you also added Medicare.
right, I added Medicare about 3 years ago.
Why? Why did you do that?
Why? Because I just was giving so much away. I was just really giving away a lot of business, and I really want to be able to help people and really solidify my relationship with my clients. So when I can offer them a final expense policy and I can take care of the Medicare, you're more tied in with them.
Yeah.
And it was just a no-brainer to pursue that. And I wish I would have done that 8 years ago initially.
What has that done for your business?
It's drastically increased it. So now what I'm excited about is just the opportunity to give them more products and things like that, and to learn more about annuities and the IULs, and have more of a basis so that I can help more people.
Well, the great thing is you're bringing additional value to your clients,
Right.
And when we talk to some Medicare agents, we're like, hey, they're sending out leads to talk to other agents
About their final expenses.
Yes.
You probably should talk to them about that.
Yeah,
And we talk to our final expense agents about, hey, like, they're going to get Medicare from somebody. You should probably talk to them about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
Why is that such an easy transition for you? Because you were in the room earlier, right? We had another gentleman in the room, and you said, "Oh, it's so easy. Wish I'd done it years ago." And he was like, he looked overwhelmed. And you said it was so easy. Two totally different responses. Why is it easy?
And did you feel that way on the front side of it too?
I always shied away from it because I've just always shied away from it because learning something new. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with learning annuities. I'm scared to death of it. I don't know anything about it. So there's people that I heard earlier today say it's so great and it's so easy. And so I'm on the flip side of that coin going, no. But
it's interesting because after they hear you on the podcast, you'll have like 10 people reach out and say, I can help you with annuities. We'll watch what happens. You can put it in the comments below, by the way.
Absolutely.
You can drop it in the comments.
Yes, that's right.
yeah, it's just being able to offer everybody a full spectrum. Because you know that they're going to talk to someone about Medicare. You know they're going to talk to someone about life insurance.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather hold on to that business instead of referring it out. So
And it's easy for you now, it sounds like.
yes, solidifying that relationship with people. And then they're more apt to refer you to people. And I do a lot of referral business. So
Did that increase on once you added Medicare? Did you
Yes.
feel like that bumped up?
drastically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How so? Explain that to final expense agents who just do final expense. They run leads. They've been buying direct mail leads or digital leads, or they're trying different vendors. They try different lead types. They're door knocking or they're calling, whatever. What happens when you add Medicare to that portfolio to bump the referrals?
So with Medicare, people want to talk to you about their doctors. They want to talk to you about the prescriptions they take.
true.
They want to, there's every other commercial on TV is about how you can get extra money, how you can get extra help and things like that. So they want to talk to you about that. Final expense is a lot harder sale than people that want to talk to you about their doctors and make sure that they're getting the most out of their Medicare that they could possibly get. So, and if there's extra funds or ways to get their initial 164 back, their Part B, they're all over it.
You just said something. They're 164 back. So there's some people that don't know what their 164
So
is.
with Medicare, they're paying for their Part B. It comes out of their check before they ever receive it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they're seeing those commercials out there. It's like, well, do I qualify? How do I do that? And they're going to call somebody. So I'd rather they call me.
Let me ask you this: when you've added it, or since you've added it, do you feel like it's affected your final expense sales? Do you feel like you're still producing at a high level on final expense?
I feel like I've added value because I'm getting in front of people that might not have been able to at the time afford final expense. But
That's really good.
But when you're helping them with their Medicare, they're finding a way to make that happen.
You said something about that earlier. I believe we were having lunch and you were like, yeah, I helped them find the money and then we direct that money into a final expense plan.
Right.
Explain that strategy. What is that? What's that approach?
This is a $9.99 tip.
This is a $9.99 tip.
Write it down.
You can put it in the comments. We'll Venmo her the $9.99.
That's
or
right.
at least we'll do a split with her or something.
So especially with working with someone that's like a low income subsidy, if they have Medicaid and Medicare, and you're helping them get help for groceries and over the counter items, and you're getting them $205 a month that will help them pay for those things, that's going to take money or put money back into their account for things that they were paying for anyway. So now they've got freed up funds to afford a final expense policy, because that was the whole reason why they contacted you in the first place, is because they want to protect their family.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you help them put more money in there, keep more money in their account.
Right.
It's like keep the money that they were already supposed to get,
Right,
really, right? By putting them in a better position with Medicare. And then by doing that, you can take a portion of that and allocate it to their final expenses, which now protects their family.
Right.
So you've improved their bottom line and protected their family on all fronts, and put something in as a legacy piece for their kids or their grandkids.
Yep.
That's a cool strategy. Why doesn't everybody do that, Chris?
Hey, sounds too good to be true.
I think it's a winning formula. We probably need to get you on a training video for Life Insurance Academy to teach the CrossSell strategy and why it works.
I like it.
We could probably do a 2 or 3 part episode with you.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And it would be very effective.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So you're excited about the future. And now you're excited to share your story and help some other ladies, help some other guys, people do the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're looking to grow our team, and we've got the structure in place to help new agents and to go through the hardship that we went through originally, and give them that team approach with that integrity and that family atmosphere.
Yeah. And what could they expect?
What could they expect as far as new agents?
What could they expect as far as the experience goes and what the opportunity is? Because some people are still looking at it. They don't know whether it's $30,000 a year or $50,000 a year. Do they have to go full time right away? How do they transition in? She was able to do it because she was teaching part-time classes at the Arnold, and then she just kind of switched, and she had a background somehow doing benefits. That's why she got in. Like, what does this look like for people transitioning in, and what can they expect on the other side? Obviously, you love your career.
I do.
Right?
I love what I do. I cannot
so what
imagine
can they expect?
doing anything else.
Describe what a career can do for them.
Having the support system in place is essential. And being from an area where I didn't have that to an area where we're grounded and we have that, it's having the support and having the structure in place to help someone succeed, and the training and the tools and the know-how to go through and follow through and have a game plan and have goals and the infrastructure that's there. So part-time, I wish I would have jumped in with both feet, but being in my situation, I was just, everybody is scared.
So you can start part-time.
Anybody can start part-time.
Yeah. And what are the prerequisites other than rolling up your sleeves and learning something new?
That's all there is.
You don't need a degree.
You don't need a degree, and you don't need, you need your license, and you need the will and the and the fortitude to push. Yeah. So, having your goals set up and having your why is a big thing. So knowing why you're doing it.
When we do talk to agents, regardless of how they get in, the ones who make it, they came through the other side of it. It's been tough somewhere. Like along the way, it's been tough. You had a tough start because of personal reasons. You're a mom, you're raising your kids, you got this part-time thing, but you made it through, and now you're living the life. It's really awesome. And I know Michael was on. I know Michael's sitting over there. You can edit that. I'm just kidding. No, but I hear Michael's story, and there was a tough start. I had a tough start. I don't know about you, Roger. You succeeded at everything you've done.
No, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It was tough, man.
There was some burned down hotel and
sleepless nights. Right. There was plenty of sleepless nights in this journey of entrepreneurship.
Right.
But taking a chance on yourself sometimes feels risky, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Yes.
It does.
What was the scariest part for you making that transition?
The scariest part was, having to depend on myself and not having a backup. There's no plan B. There's pushing forward. So, and the more positivity and the more things that you can put in front of you versus looking behind you, that's what's scary. So making sure you're always looking forward and putting your blinders on, and especially keeping people out of your ear. People that are trying to deter you or tell you to go work for the state, go get a job, go work for Amazon, go do something where you've got benefits and you've got security, and there's no security in life. So your security is yourself.
How do you feel about your choices now?
Oh, outstanding. 100%.
Well, yeah.
I wish I would have done it.
Would you trade it for anything though? Would you trade it for a job?
Oh no, I would never want to do anything else. My family's self-employed. They ran their business when my great grandparents came over from Italy, and my dad took it over and has done very well for himself and never worked for anybody in a day in his life but himself. And
so there's a pride that comes with working for yourself.
Absolutely.
A scariness when you first branch out, but a pride in that, right?
A scariness, yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a lot of people in your family set a good pace though, and a good trajectory for the rest of you guys to follow.
Yep.
And now you're doing the same for your kids.
Yep.
Cool. Well, if people want to connect with you to find out more about how they can maybe get some questions answered from your experiences, how to transition from final expense to Medicare, how to add it, or maybe even how to work with you, how do they get a hold of the Juice?
The Juice.
The Juice. Lisa Joos, the Juice is the nickname, by the way.
Through Serenity Insurance Group. So
how do they reach out to Serenity?
So through Instagram. So it's Serenity _insurance group.
Yeah. Reach out there. Ask for the Juice.
That's right.
Put me in touch with the Juice. Cool. Very good. Well, it's been great having you on.
Thank you so much for having
you
me.
here.
Thank you.
We love that you're a listener, and we love having listeners on to hear their stories. And maybe you're listening today, and maybe you have a little fight in you, and maybe you want to tell your story. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to fight through and get to know us. So drop us some comments below. What are your questions for Lisa the Juice, who made this transition? What are your questions? What do you want to know? Let us know, and we'll be happy to connect you guys. Thank you guys for listening, and we're looking forward to connecting with you on another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast.